It's okay. All right, so let's go back to share again. There's always one time we forget to do that, right? So week one, we're just slowly entering in. We're going to drink more hot water or herbal teas. Kind of the more you sip, the less you're going to want to eat. Because a lot of times people are afraid of that feeling like empty. You get like, oh my gosh, my blood sugar is going to go. Oh my God. Like you start to get in panic mode when you're hungry. But it's really, really cool if you start to understand what that hunger feels like. You actually get more done, you become more productive, your brain works better. Like, so eating and really spacing between to let that whole digestive process really complete, it's amazing to where you start to be like, I kind of like feeling hungry because it starts to motivate you. In the beginning, it's scary, like, oh, I better hurry up and eat. It's time. Or, we were taught as athletes, especially, that was so horrible. Eat every 2 hours, like fuel that body up. And I think everybody's insulin levels were like up here all the time. Nobody ever got to come down. So we're going to learn how to do that by taking all of these sugar, dairy, wheat, ultra processed, all of that out of the equation and let the body sip some herbal teas and some hot water. Always your hot water is going to be your friend. And this is a really good tea mix. I think everybody knows of this one, the CCF, cumin, coriander, and fennel. Amazing to increase digestive fire. So this is really great on the cleanse because it just keeps that digestive fire going and it tastes really good too.
Wait, Aunt Deb, really quick. I feel like you'll like laugh, but I don't know if Ash is on. Oh yeah, there she is. So this is my first cleanse, as you know, but other people don't know. So something with what you were saying with like letting yourself get hungry, like Ash and I always kid around and like obviously you were there for our childhood. So like were we starved as kids? Like sometimes I get like panicky about not having my next meal planned, like what I'm gonna eat, not having enough food. Like we kid around, we're like, were we starved as kids? Like, because we're both like that. Like Maddie's even like that too. So that's something that I think even with like thinking about this cleanse, I was like, okay, I need to make sure I'm set up. Like, what do I have to eat? What do I have to order? Like, so I feel like that's gonna be something I could use like
That
extra
can be a huge
support
one.
on,
And it's not just you. Society has us convinced it's not you. It's this whole era that we grew up in. Big business, big pharma, even the government, the federal government coming out of the war and all, they wanted to make things easier and get morale going. Then the volume of people increased. So they had to make more food, which gave more. I mean, capitalism was fantastic for getting everybody back up and going, but then every single company wants to sell their product. Everybody in Washington, I'm not getting political, but basically it's run by all of these bigger companies. So the more they make, the more money they make, the more advertising they have. It's become this society of telling us we need so much more of everything. And if you don't have it, I mean, if you go back to our grandparents, great grandparents, like they would tell, like eating in between meals and things, that was never even an issue. Like that never happened. But we now have every convenience, like we all do. Okay, I'm going to order this. Bing, it's at your door. Like you basically could have things in 2 hours if you live near one of the, bigger warehouses or something. But it's amazing how much we are really focused around food now. And as you slowly kind of go through one cleanse, two cleanse, three, that way, and then we'll introduce more, whoever really wants to do the intermittent fasting, things like that on a more regimented, especially it's very crucial though for you younger ladies to really listen to someone. I was Dr. Mindy Pulse. I mean, if you get someone like that who understands the female hormone cycles, I would highly advise you to not go in and intermittent fast like a man would do it, because they just don't have the systems we do. So there's certain amount of hours and foods that are better and worse for you in the middle of your period, at the end of your period, in the middle of it, like all of this, your hormonal levels, ours as women are constantly fluctuating, and we're just not set to be exactly like a man. So if you fast every day the same, say you're up to between 13 and 16 and 16 and 20, every single day, all the time. Like if you get to that goal, you're actually damaging the amount of normal hormones that are supposed to be excreted or taken back or, exchanged at different times in our body. It's really crucial that women learn how to fast the right way at their time of, at whatever age they're in. If you want to get pregnant, if you don't want to get pregnant too, there's all different things that have to happen in the body to make it a good pregnancy or a good setup to be pregnant. So intermittent fasting is fantastic. At least the 12 hours. Like if you or someone that is eating at 11 o'clock at night and then they wake up early to commute into the city and the first thing they do is make a coffee at 5 and they're putting their sugar and their creamer, all those wonderful fancy creamers and things in it. They've already broken their fast and they're not even close to the 12 hours. They haven't slept 8 of the hours. So eight of the hours is our like gift, because we're already asleep for those 8 hours if we're like, lucky to sleep. And then we can add a few more hours on and we're at 12. 12 is really great for the body. 13 just clicks you a tiny bit over that. And then you can eat then, especially if you're trying to build muscle and strength and all, then you kind of want to do the 13 most of the days so you can get enough protein in during the day. So we can go through all this on the different, like as we come out on the 3rd week, kind of set us going forward, because you're going to feel, Ashley, I'd never forget how you felt at the end. Like I am supercharged and I can't wait to you get that, like that high that you can now accomplish anything because the clutter's gone. Like everything is gone in the mind and like all of the, like the body dullness and everything that just seems to like fade away.
You just realize how much less you need of everything. It's so much less
Yeah.
stressful. Like the case before, you're like, "Oh, I guess I don't have anything to eat. No, I'll be okay." You're just like, it's just so much less stress all the time.
You'll
I'm
notice
thinking
at the
about
end
it.
of this too, if you continue to understand all the things you don't need during the day and all the extra little things we put in. So I did that during the week. I was watching and I was adding and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like if you add that into your drinks, or because liquid calories are where a lot of people get in danger. You think you're only drinking this, but if you add all those thises together during the day, during the week, during the month, it's huge what an impact it makes on your caloric intake. And then most of us aren't lucky enough to be running around all day long. If you're sitting or sort of mobile, you're putting too much in and you're not using any of that. So it's storing for us. It's giving us a big old favor by storing it up, but then we don't use it. All right. So then in week 2, that's when you've kind of cleared the slate, you're ready to go. And then we can kind of discuss where you want to be in this. Are you going to do you want to add a day or 2 of juice fasting in? Do you want to go mono diet? Casey, you're just starting, and I don't know how much you've done on other cleanses, but starting off like with a mono diet, which is like the same meal, like for 2 or 3 days in a row. You could do khichdi, you could do the cleansing soups or something, and a sweet, like a light dinner or something, whatever you wish. But if you keep it the same ingredients for a couple meals or a couple days, the body doesn't have to think anymore, and it goes into cleanse and really elimination mode, because all the different things you put in, if you're still creating like lots of different crazy, wonderful meals, it has to think a little bit more. So, but juices are amazing. I made a juice this morning that was just a few things that were in my refrigerator that I had not thought to put in. Fennel. I actually juiced fennel and jicama. It was the most amazing juice. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's none left. Like, come on, keep coming.
Interesting.
It was so good.
And
But-
Anta, when you say juice, I know you gave me your juicer. I've never used one before. Are you talking about like literally like where it separates out the
Yep.
pulp from the
Yes.
juice? Just the juice? Oh, interesting. Okay.
So for a little bit, everybody was concerned that just juicing was not giving you the fiber you needed to feed, the mitochondria, to, do that, to get the microbiome like all fed, that you needed the bulk. But that's basically just to have you give a nice, bowel movement, basically. The juice itself, and I actually take a little bit of the pulp, like if I see a little bit of lemon or apple, because apple peel, your particular bacteria love apple peel, like Akkermansia, which is super important for anyone that's ever had SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. leaky gut, anything like that. The lining of the intestines, if you don't have enough Akkermansia food, that bacteria will start to eat the mucus off of the lining and create a leaky gut. Or so there's all these little tips. So taking your juices, taking a tiny bit of the pulp, if you see some juicy parts, and putting it back in there, and then drinking your juice with a little bit of the pulp. So, but the juices themselves have enough sugars and fiber in them to feed the microbiome. So don't be
okay.
worried, because a lot of times they're like, oh, don't just fast. I mean, just don't juice fast, because then you won't get, but they've contradicted that. So,
Hmm.
and I'm going to do again the Valter Longo, the Prolong. I'm going to actually purchase. I didn't do this last time. I did my own food, which I have the entire thing. You'll see it in here somewhere. It's the up the top, the fast mimicking diet. So that whole recipe book, and that's if anybody wants to do that for a few days at the very end of the second week. But here are some of his meal plans. So it's technically ultra processed food, but it has these scientific nutrients. So I'm just going to try it for the sake of argument.
The ingredients aren't terrible though, Aunt Deb. I looked at them
Yeah,
because I was surprised that you suggested like literally something comes in a box from Amazon. And
yeah,
I was researching the ingredients and they look to be super clean. Like there's
yeah.
not much going on in there.
He
Those
developed this,
is that
and
what
there's
you
a
meant?
3-day as well. So there's a box down there, the Prolon 3-day meals, or you can do 5. So
And if you
it's
guys,
got the soups.
if anyone has an FSA or an HSA, it looks like you can pay with your pre-taxed dollars.
Very good.
Pretty cool.
So that's pretty neat. And that, I thought it was, I mean, I did it the other time and I thought there's plenty of food to take through, but that's when you have, especially if you have any kind of underlying issues right now, blood pressure, cholesterol, teetering with diabetic issues, any internal actual organ issues and all, this will really address it. It really actually goes in to the point where your body thinks you're technically fasting for 5 days, but it's giving you the nutrients enough to support the body while you're going through that with the perfect match of the macros. So it's really pretty cool. It's got the perfect the fat, the protein. But again, the meal plan that we did last year was super simple to follow. As long as you go to the grocery store and get those little artichokes and the olives in the packages and do things, it's not difficult at all. But that's kind of probably for like a more advanced, you could probably do the 3-day, but if this is your
Like,
first
I
one, I would
love,
try the recipe books and go through the soups, the cleansing salads. There's smoothies per your dosha. There's juices per dosha. So the recipe book has so many recipes in it. So the traditional week 2 is plant-based diet. Use the recipe book. It's got tons of great things. And I think I'm going to add a few more that I came across. Continue to constantly sip your hot water and your teas, whatever kind of herbal tea you like. And then the fermented foods are going to be really, really beneficial as you're taking all of that heaviness out and you're starting to feed what the body is supposed to be having. The fermented foods are going to make you feel amazing. And then we're going to do the breath work and your physical movement. Instead of like really working out hard and going to the gym and doing that excessive, do maybe things that are a little bit smoother and softer, walking, those primal movements where you crawl, stretch, do yoga, rather than heavy weightlifting. If you're lucky enough to be somewhere there's a sauna or a steam room, sweat. And then of course, in week 2, we're going to cold plunge as much as you are willing to do. I don't know Ashley, are you still cold showering?
I just started again. Yeah, I
Okay,
hadn't
okay.
been I started doing it again. And oh my gosh, my water is so cold here because it's a well and it's Boston. I think our water temperature is like 46 or something. So like I don't have a plunge, but I stand in my ice cold shower and I'll be like, Chloe was in my bathroom and she was like, looking at me like, "Mommy, are you okay?" So I'm like, "Oh my God, oh, this is horrible." And she's like, mommy?"
She's like, I told you the bath is horrible, Mom. You didn't believe me.
Yeah, it's, and you just have to say, like, I was listening to Huberman Labs, I think the other day, Andrew Huberman, and he was saying the effect on the body is so profound. He said, but the cortisol messages from the body and the brain acting as the anticipatory, just about to do it, is equally as important, because you get this jolt of like that dopamine because you're going to do it, and either you're saying this is really going to suck, or like I literally say I'm that weirdo most of the time. I either start laughing and say this is really going to suck if I'm not mentally prepared, or I say, all right, something on the line of, well, fuck you, mitochondria, you're out. Like I'm cleaning them out. Like, you're getting rid of the bad mitochondria that should be kind of in their die off. So you got to attack it like, you know, you got to get that little pitta out before you get in the shower.
For me, it's the
Mo?
mind part. I feel like when I do the cold plunge or just a cold shower, making that one like really uncomfortable choice just makes the other uncomfortable choices easier somehow. Like I'm like,
It's exactly.
I guess I'm not that hungry. Like at night, I'll be like, my tummy is like, oh, it's a little hungry. I'm like, I'm okay. Like somehow doing something and so simple, like that awful and uncomfortable, you're like, okay, I can do hard things. Like that's, I don't know why. I just like that little one seems to push me.
That is the actual scientific like side effect. As you begin to do this more and more and doing the harder things first and accomplishing them, everything else becomes easier. Like you have the strength and the ability to conquer the other things because you've already, like, you put yourself through that adversity. And that's what
Mm.
we're trying to do. We're trying to get ourselves to accept the adversity because it truly, I don't want to sound cliche, it makes you stronger. It physically, emotionally, spiritually, it makes you stronger because, and the one thing I really find about doing a cleanse is you're doing it for yourself. The first, like, we take care of everybody else in so many other respects of our life. Now we're doing something for us. And it's only going to affect us in the beginning. The outcome after it affects everybody around you, because if you stick with this and you really go through these easy 3 weeks with us, you will be a little bit different on the outside, on the other
Totally.
end of this. It just happens. It happens every single time if something doesn't pull you away or knock you out of it. And you'll figure out, oh, something happened today and I fell off and I had to do this or I had to eat that, or so what? Just push it under the rug and keep going. Like, don't even worry about the little bit of something that you went off. Like, don't beat yourself up over it. Who cares? Just say, oh, well, shit happens. Life happened today. I'm gonna start again tomorrow. It's no big deal. So sweating, sitting in silence, and trying to sleep. If you can sleep 8 hours, if you can really start to go to bed a little bit early, or even one night a week, like if you consistently can only get 5 hours of sleep, maybe one night you get 6. If you sleep 8 hours all the time, you're super lucky. Keep that up through this. So whatever it is for you, try that little bit longer, a little bit more, because the only time, anyone that's taken my course before knows this, the only time the brain can detox is at night when it's not digesting food. So if you are that person that has that snack before bed, and then your body is going into that working mode again. So you lay down to go to sleep and it's trying to cleanse, and the brain's has its own like lymphatic system, and it's called the glymphatic system. And the only time it can actually clean, and now through science, which is fantastic, we can see the actual brain when it happens at night. And it literally shrinks in a little bit. The lymphatic system drainage out of the brain happens and it goes in. But if we're digesting food, you skip that one. It doesn't happen until another 24 hours. So if you know people, or you are that person that eats right before bed within the 2 to 3 hours, you're probably turning off that system that was so important. Say your workday was crazy, or friendships, some things were crazy, or relationships, and this is all on your mind all day long, and you can even feel that nervousness in your body. If you're eating and going right to sleep, it's going to stay with you. So tomorrow morning when you wake up, it's still there in full force. But if you let the system release it into the lymphatic system and let everything go on an empty stomach, then you've cleansed that out and your emotions are better, your brain is clearer. And you probably didn't know why, but sometimes when you wake up in the morning, you're like, wow, I feel so much better. Like that's not bothering me anymore. If you had realized maybe the day before, maybe you stopped eating at like 6 or 7 at night without knowing it. So that's super important to try to get that sleep on an empty stomach. Just drink some tea or water. But it's an amazing thing at night that we weren't aware of that was happening. And back in the day, our grandparents and stuff, grandma didn't cook 3 meals all day long, like slaughtering chickens and eggs and chopping up vegetables and then give everybody a midnight snack. Like kitchen was closed. Like grandma was not going back in there to do that all over again. So you were plumb out of luck. So you ate your breakfast, everything got cleaned up. Then when you came in from the fields or the factory or wherever at lunch, you ate again. Grandma cleaned up the kitchen or Aunt Susie or whoever, and you weren't coming in for a snack. They'd probably smack you and you walked away. Like, and then you ate later on, and that's it. Stuff wasn't available all the time. The body got to do what it was meant to do. It had the instruction guide inside and it was working. We've totally messed up that, the owner's manual was just thrown out the window. Like doesn't exist anymore. So.
And I have a
Mhm.
question for you. Could you talk a little bit, especially I'm loving that our crew here is on the younger side, and I think it's a different
Yep.
type of detox, because I know for me, especially, like one of my focuses for the detox is going to be like technology and like external detox. Like
Mhm.
I was finding myself being so stressed and anxious from like the shit coming through my Instagram, and like everyone's on TikTok and stuff. So I don't know. I feel like it'd be helpful, just like you talk about like stopping food at 7, like how important it is to talk about like stopping technology, stopping TikTok, Instagram, all that before bed too, to
It's
allow your brain to rest. I don't know that we talk about that enough, you know?
it's crucial. And that's one of my devices will all go off a little bit before about 8:30. My watch will start telling me it's time to go to bed, turn your things off. So a good hour at the minimum to turn all your devices off, even like the big bright lights, your television. You want the body to start remembering it has a circadian rhythm. So waking up in the morning, if we're picking our phones up the first thing and going, it's not the same telling our circadian rhythm to kick on. That's natural sunlight, or if you have to turn on a bright light, that's okay. But as you pick your phone up, it's a different blue light that actually starts your cortisol going immediately, but in a hyper extended like direction, rather than just coming up. Say you were lucky enough to wake up with the sun and everything is going, it's a different response in the body. It's the same thing again at night. As it gets to 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, the whole circadian rhythm of the whole cosmos, the earth, is starting to tilt into slowdown. But technology doesn't slow down. We can keep going. So it's disrupting the body and extremely disruptive for the nervous system and the sleep cycle. So if you have all the blue screens on, your body is still in like dopamine, cortisol overload mode, which is now, especially you younger women, totally affecting your hormones, because your hormones are also, they have a circadian rhythm that they're going with. So all of this beautiful technology is fantastic, but it's really detrimental to our health and our hormones, especially the cortisol, serotonin, melatonin. All of this is completely, it's basically based on our circadian rhythm. It's supposed to be working on a clock. And we have the ability now to turn the clock off, but it's really better to be mindful to keep that clock. So turning down all of the devices at whatever time works for you, a good hour before bed, that's what's going to help you reset that internal clock and get your hormones back on. So there's so many issues with panic, anxiety, depression, migraines, skin, major, like, what is that one?
Rosacea.
Pretty much eczema on your face, but rosacea, like different things like that. Those breakouts, that's an imbalance of the hormones within the body. Those are like all things that are going on in an imbalance. So if we can get those all back into balance, things start to shed, and then the detox lets them out. So the less we do, especially with, as Ashley was saying, the TikTok and the Instagram, which we all get addicted to, staring at it, but that's keeping it in. We're trying to get it out. So the body knows how to get it out. We just have to give it the correct time to do that. I just had one more thought up here as I was saying something. Yes. So another way, the microbiome, which sets every message, every chemical message, the vagus nerve between the gut and the brain, the microbiome is in different, it's all over the body. It's in our mouth, it's in our ears, our nose, our skin, different ones in our gut, different parts of the body. And it all needs to be fed at different times, but it also has amazing detoxifying pathways that it knows what to do, and the signals. And also the cultured food is what helps feed that, but it also sets the like detoxifying pathways and gets them open. So drinking some kombucha, miso, tempeh. This is, anybody look at this one, the HMO? The human milk oligosaccharides are these particular fats, microbes that actually were given to you at birth from your parent, from your mother. And if you've had any antibiotics whatsoever, which most people have had, or any harsh medications, these get eradicated. But that's the one that actually is like building our skin and our bones and our hormones, and the level gets knocked out in us now when we're so young. So putting things like that back in, it starts to reset all these chemical passages and things that are supposed to be happening in our bodies. So the kefir, kombucha,
And Deb,
miso,
kefir,
tempeh.
is that the yogurt, like it's like a yogurty drink?
Yes, it's a
So,
it's like a
okay.
liquid yogurt.
So otherwise we're doing like no dairy other than the kefir?
Well, there is the kefir, there's coconut. So during week 2, so week 1, you're pulling everything out. Week 3, you're slowly starting to put it back in. But week 2, I'm probably going to do 1 full day of like a kefir cleanse. So it's like 50% kefir, because I want to keep putting the probiotics in me, because they help detoxify the body out. But I'm going to do coconut. So I tested, I've made the coconut. So I have that. I make all the other ones in the dairy. But now I tried coconuts, absolutely delicious. And now I'm going to try this week making the almond.
Ooh.
So the almond milk kefir.
Oh, interesting. Okay. And then my other question, I did find the vegan where is it? Kimchi. So should I try? How much of it
Yeah.
do you recommend? Like I just got like the jar of it. So how
Yeah,
much
all
do you think
you can do that, just a teaspoon, tablespoon, one time, like during the day. If you're having any kind of digestive issues, or you're finding it's hard to digest some things, or things are kind of feeling kind of sticky and heavy or whatever, you can eat at each meal. Say you're eating 3 meals, have a teaspoon or a tablespoon in between at each meal, and it will really help your digestion, and it will help things work properly at each meal.
Okay.
So
Cool.
kimchi and the sauerkraut, very, very good for that. Or any cultured vegetables. A sip of kefir with your meal, like something like that's really, really good.
Is
Awesome.
there non-vegan kimchi?
Most of them are. They're
What?
Yeah, a lot of
They're
them,
not vegan? What are they?
they have shrimp in
shrimpy
them. There's
gross.
the shrimp, yeah.
What?
Yeah, there's like a
No
shrimp
idea.
oil in
It's
them.
fine. Are you
Yeah.
vegan, Casey?
No, I just do not eat any seafood, and I like am
Oh,
repulsed
really?
by it, which is ironic. Yeah, we were out recently, and my boyfriend got something with, and it was not a seafood dish, but it had kimchi on it, and it was dumplings, and they were kimchi dumplings, and I almost barfed. They were so
Yeah,
fishy.
if you get
I
a
never knew
cheaper icky
that.
brand, they're horrible.
I've eaten
Horrible.
kimchi a million times and I never had
You like
any idea
seafood,
how
so
good
you
it was.
probably wouldn't be like repulsed by it, you know?
But I
Yeah,
didn't even taste that it had shrimp. Like I thought it was all like, what is it? It's like cabbage, right? Or what is it?
Yeah.
Kimchi is the Napa cabbage, but it
It's
has
cabbage, yeah.
the old, like the old Chinese, Japanese version of it actually has the shrimp oil in it.
Oh, the
But
oil.
but a lot of them don't, and you don't taste it at all. It's more spicy, because then it has like the chili peppers and things in
Yeah,
it.
it's spicy. The
Mhm.
one at Whole Foods, I feel like doesn't have it. I
There's,
have to check.
yeah, the big one at Whole Foods actually, I think might have it.
Oh, really?
I
Yeah.
specifically, Aunt Deb told me
No
to look
idea.
for one that said vegan, and I was like, yes.
Yes, I'm taking
So
that.
that's what I got.
So weird.
Okay, here's the fast mimicking diet. Here's all the sheets. This was a very good. I added Dr. Axe's detox juice today. That was a very good one. I liked that. There's a ton of smoothie recipes, like, so the lighter the meals, like in week 2, if you want to do lighter meals, you're going to have like a nutrient dense smoothie, if you like. So you're getting all those nutrients. It's just going to be easier to digest because it's technically pre-digested if you mix it all up, and so it's easier on the system. If you add fats during the day, fats are amazing for the body and even for the detox. It keeps you in that fuller sense longer. What else is?
What about what are your suggestions for like when we do break our fast? So like my typical go-to in the morning is like I have, like with my gallstones, like I try to avoid saturated fats just
Mhm.
because that's from my
Yeah.
research what I've thought is kind of but anyway, so I was doing like non-fat Greek yogurt, berries, and like a serving of granola. And then I would get like healthy fats. But like, what do you recommend then if we're kind of gonna go no dairy? Like, what do you recommend in the morning?
My rule of thumb is when I start doing a fast, I break my fast with something green. So usually
Okay.
a green juice of some sort, because you want to give that dense, like nutrients on that lighter side
It's like our
into
AG1s.
AG1 is great. And you can
Okay.
even make it with a little bit of smoothie. Week 1 and 3, a kefir smoothie is amazing. So you
Mm.
can add like your kefir, a little bit of kefir, and your protein or collagen powder, whatever you want to put in, a couple supplements if if you have any that you want to put in, aminos or something.
I don't think
And
my
then,
protein is cleanse approved.
no, no, a
No.
chocolate something.
Yeah,
Chocolate
it's chocolate
caramel,
peanut butter. It's good. It's a good lean protein source for like muscle building, but it's ultra processed. I was looking up some like bone broth, chocolate
You
bone
should
broth
get
protein.
you should get naked pea. It's just pea
Mhm.
protein, nothing
Yeah.
else, and it's so good.
Yeah.
Ooh,
And it doesn't have like a strong like the like proteiny taste.
yeah.
It doesn't have that. Like
Oh,
it blends in really well.
it's just no
Okay.
flavor. Oh,
It
vanilla.
has no flavor, but like it doesn't like taste like anything, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like it
nice.
blends really well. And
Sweet.
it's
Okay.
vegan.
Picky protein powder, and Allie's given me that before, and I like it.
Yeah,
So
Elizabeth hates
Okay.
everything and I fed it to her and she likes it. So
Oh, awesome. Aunt Deb, that's
Yeah.
like good for this.
Yes, for I would not. So week 2, though, we're going to take out the different proteins and things. We're going to try to stay plant-based. So you could put that in the pea protein you could put in. I switched over, gosh, it's almost a year ago now that I started eating meat after about 40 years. So I was noticing I was getting like frail, I'm more of a muscular build. I'm not big, but I'm more on the muscular side. And as we get older, we actually need to increase our protein and weightlifting. And I was doing, yoga and different things. And then I just got into a different spin of things. And then I noticed, I'm like, ooh, the older population is beginning to look really frail to me. And anyone that's getting injured or sick or getting any, illnesses coming upon, they're all frail and they're all, very like fragile looking, aside from and no muscle. And I'm like, all right, I got to do something. So I changed and I started eating. I do a goat whey protein, and I've added creatine in. Well, when I do my testing, as you all know, I do the testing, which I'm going to share all those results with you guys. They're unbelievable, the craziness that goes on in our bodies. I had almost zero creatine in my body. Zero. I was like at
Wow.
0.02 or something. And you're
Wow.
supposed to be up to like 14 or whatever. So that was a big wake up. And so I added, for almost a year now, I've been having the goat whey and creatine and adding back in the particular, like our essential amino acids you can get from some of the pea proteins and things. But look for leucine. that's the one that helps build the muscle. So even if you get a plant protein after the cleanse and you want to do that, make sure that you're maybe find a supplement of leucine. Make sure there's like 2,000 milligrams of leucine in, because if you or you know someone that is trying to lose a little bit of weight, the fastest way to lose weight is to build muscle.
Mhm.
This muscle is what it uses the fat to build its muscle and burn off. So it's better than
Am I
anything you can do.
allowed to take branched chain amino acid supplement during week 2?
Week 2, I'm going to try to get us to kind of take our supplements unless they're necessary, like really, and not even have the body think about them.
Okay, so no supplements at all, like
Yeah,
vitamins.
I'm gonna, so if you could like wean off this week a little bit on certain things that you don't find really, essential to you for any kind of an illness or an ailment at the time, I would slowly start to do, because the less we're giving our body, the deeper it's going to cleanse, even the mind. So you can keep your caloric intake up really high and eat very, very clean foods. So all of the extra things it needs to process and think about, unless it's in its own natural state, it's going to take away from what we're trying to do to like complete easefulness for the body.
I'm happy you asked that, Allie, because I was going to ask you about the aminos too. 'Cause I started taking
Yeah.
aminos like a month ago, and I'm like obsessed.
Yeah,
But I've
they
been
work
weightlifting a
really well.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I love it. But I didn't. Yeah, I was going to ask that too. So
Yeah, that's amazing for us. So when we come out of this, keep up with all of that and make sure, keep your body toned. And as we get older, like, you ladies aren't old by any means, but you're getting to the point now where actually I think it's 35 is where it begins a 2% decrease in your muscle mass. And then it goes up to 4% like in your 40s, and then 5% up in your 50s, and then you slowly start to just lose muscle mass. And if we don't have that structural support to hold our bones up, you'll see like elderly people, they think they fell and broke their hip, but their hip broke and they fell. And a lot of times they'll do that, like they'll break an arm or something like that. And it's because of the frailty of the bones, not having the muscle to hold it structurally. And Allie, you took the Ayurveda course. We have 7 layers of tissue, and each layer feeds and builds the next layer. So each layer needs the layer before it to nourish it and to build it. And we miss a whole bunch of these steps. We have too much of one and none of the other, and too much fat and not enough muscle. And so this getting into a routine of doing cleanses is amazing for resetting all of that. So you ladies, as you age, will be like so far ahead of the curve. You're going to be, like these little bodybuilding, 70-year-olds.
We're not aging, Deb. Come
No.
on.
Movement.
well, I keep
can't
telling
believe
people that I'm 28 years old. Like I was like, I actually was talking to somebody. I accidentally sent my passport to the wrong Tony, my new job. And I was like, oh, I hope we're not trying to steal a 28-year-old girl's identity. And I was like, what the? I'm 36. I'm like, what is my brain still says that I'm 28. Like I haven't moved
Just
past
keep
that.
saying that. It's mind over matter.
That's
Yeah.
right. That
I'm
is.
like 28. Yeah.
28 again.
No one has asked about exercise or movement.
I have a question. So I do a lot of physical activity, and that is my job. So what am I supposed to do with like week 2 when I'm not eating any protein? Am I gonna pass
I
out?
would then, well, that's why I said it's
Like
different for
riding and
everyone.
stuff.
I would actually keep more protein in your diets, because you don't
Okay.
want to get depleted. So
Yeah.
being in it for different reasons, like you don't want to totally deplete. So find like maybe you keep eggs in, something like that,
Okay.
or a little piece of salmon or something like the lighter, but I would
Yeah.
still keep some proteins in so that you don't
Every day, you think? Or like just like when I
maybe
feel
once a day, like do a
okay.
protein
Yeah.
shake or something, but with a lot of, nice packed ingredients in it, like nutrient dense ingredients.
Okay.
And then I would definitely keep up my protein levels, because you don't want to
Yeah.
deplete, because you'll feel worse on the way out.
I know, I was thinking, I'm like, I feel like I might pass out by the end of week 2.
Yeah.
So
No, you would really benefit from doing like a big pot of the Instapot khichdi.
Yeah.
and put
that would
all of
probably
your
make-
stuff in there and really
Yeah,
keep
that's
some
probably-
substance in your body.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt
Those
amazing.
are my
I just, I did the
avocados. I'd be
kitchery.
taking one.
I did the kitchery so many times for days. It was like it was my lifeline. I loved it.
Yeah.
It's
I
so
still love it.
fulfilling and like you still feel great. Like I like lost weight, I felt light, like I feel like I had all the detox stuff, but like having that nice kitchery at lunch with like all those veggies and like
Mhm.
I
It's
don't know, like you
amazing.
don't feel like it still feels like warm and cozy and like you're having a nice meal. It doesn't like
Yeah.
suck the life out of you like you think of a cleanse, you know?
Yeah.
Have you
I
had
always do the
kitchery,
kitchery. I love the kitchery. And you can
'Cause you
make
did the
any version
Ayurveda,
of
right,
it.
Allie?
Oh yeah, I did Ayurveda. Yeah.
Yeah, so
But,
you
like,
must have had kitchery.
Yeah, I used to make kitchery and I used to eat it like constantly, like
I
every day,
good, right?
honestly.
I saw a few different good recipes for it on that. Do you get recipes ever, Antep? I just stopped like Joyful Belly or something it's called.
Yeah, I sent one of these links today has it on. Joyful Belly is great.
There were like a bunch of different variations of it with like the same gist, and I was like, "Ooh, like that sounds like one of them." I don't know, had like asparagus or something. Like
Yeah.
I don't even remember, but like
I
little
grab
variations.
everything. Whatever I have vegetable wise in the house, I'll put whatever the root vegetables or things I'm doing, especially in the fall, it's packed with things. In the mung bean and then either rice or quinoa, depending on what you want to do. I usually do a little bit more of the mung beans. I make mine more heavy protein and less of the rice. When I do the rice, like I was having so much fun doing it, like 3 full days, 3 meals or something, I was getting constipated from, I guess, too much rice or something. I don't know. So
Mm.
now I do a little bit more of the kitchery, excuse me, of the mung beans and a little bit less of the grain. And then if
And
you can water it
mung
down
beans
for a meal.
versus chickpeas.
Definitely mung beans. So mung beans
Oh,
have the
okay.
amount of protein as a 4-ounce piece of steak. So that's why a lot of
Wow.
vegetarians use the mung beans more for their protein source.
Where does one
And they're
acquire
the easiest to digest. The smaller the bean, the easier. And soak them too. If you have an Instant Pot, the pressure cooking, takes care of that. But they're hard to digest if you don't. You always soak them overnight. The split mung, not the big green ones. It's called
Where do
mung
we get
dal.
them? We got them at Whole Foods or we got them at that
We got them up at the Indian grocery store, the
Yeah.
big bag of them. And then they have
Thrive Market has
also
them.
Whole Foods used to carry them, but they don't anymore. But the
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Amazon has them, and so does Thrive.
big old burlap bag of mung beans.
But the
Do you guys
Indian
watch
store
The
has them
Office?
the best, the least expensive.
They were so cheap. It was like $5, I feel like, for the bag.
Yeah, it was for the big bag.
And I would make it kitchery like every week. My mom was like, "Oh, you're making your gruel again." I'm like, "Yes."
I brought
It's
it to a
delicious
meeting once.
gruel, okay?
It's good. I love it.
Postpartum, I was like dying for a cleanse. Like, I don't know, it was like a couple months postpartum. Like, I just was like really feeling sticky, and I just like, I'm like, oh my God, I need a little mini cleanse. I did a little mini couple day, like kitchery thing. And I brought it to like an office, like to like a luncheon, where people had like sandwiches and bags, and they're like, I'm
Yeah.
like
I brought mine everywhere.
the weirdo with like my little Tupperware, like, I'm like, people are like, that
No
was
one knows what it
delicious.
is either. They're like, "What is that?" I'm like, "It's kitchery." They're like, "What?"
Yeah,
They're like, "Is it rice or beans?" I'm like, "Yes."
yeah.
Exactly.
There was an Indian person in my meeting, and she was like, that's baby food. Like, my mom used to make that for me when I was
Yeah.
like a kid when I was sick. It's so funny.
Great.
Yeah, it's sometimes fun being that conversation piece, being that weirdo, because I've been that weirdo for
Conversation
years and
piece.
more.
Hashtag weirdos. Been the
Yep.
weirdo for life.
Ash is always the conversation piece.
Shameless weirdo.
I love it. Love it. You know what? Then people look and they're like, oh, so for your age, you're not looking too bad. So maybe something's working. Maybe, just maybe you're onto something. Dry brushing. Oh, I just looked down on our list. Sorry. So massage, your oils, dry brush if you can remember before, you take your shower, and remember you
And
want
what is that? Like
that
what?
gets the lymphatic system going, and it so your skin is the largest organ, so you want to get the dead layer off so that it can breathe, so it can exchange. And on another note, it's your lymphatic system. So you're coming up on your arms and then kind of down towards your heart. And then you kind of come up, you're going to come up on your legs. So in the upward movement in the morning to get things up and drained out. And then you can jump in and take your shower, and then nice oil, like oil massage into your body. Like it just sets the body in the right tone. Epsom salt baths at night are amazing if you have the time to just escape by yourself and take a bath. Yin yoga is my new favorite again at night. I did it for a long time. Everyone. Okay, Ashley's gone. Bye, Ash. Yin yoga at night is 20 minutes or so. And if you like Travis Elliott, there's another woman, Brett, I'll find her link. I can't remember. She has beautiful, soothing voice, but you just hold postures for 20 minutes, just a few of them. You turn into a piece of jello and you just want to go to bed. Like it's amazing. So the links in here, Travis Elliott's bedtime are really, really soothing. And so we built a sauna this winter, so it's outside, and Kevin will go in, make it really, really hot on the days. I only do the one hot day now. And the other
You
days,
have a sauna and you didn't invite me?
we just finished it. You know, our yoga hut is now half
Yeah.
sauna. The yoga hut is now broken in
Wow.
half.
Infrared?
Oh no, full like wood burning stove sauna.
Wow, look at you. Jealous.
You're welcome to come try it anytime.
That's
So I'll
amazing.
go in at night from about like 150 to 160, which in a sauna is more just on the warmer side, like the hotter, warmer.
Mhm.
And it just opens up your body, and you literally just want to like crawl into bed after that. So it's a great practice. Turn your lights off, light a candle. And then I suggest just taking your little phone and doing it, not a whole big, your computer or your iPad, because the less screen, I actually literally turn mine over and I just listen to his voice. I don't watch what he's doing. You can have a blocker, a bolster, and it just gets you so set for bed where you're just like, night world, I'm out of here. I'm going to bed. The mind, we went over the mind a little bit. Oh, look at this, inflammation and migraines. I know someone that might have
Elizabeth.
a migraine workover. So
Yeah, that would be me.
here's a couple steps on this one. This link, oh yes, it is there. The 10-day detox just has some great recipes in it. We're doing a different detox than Dr. Mark Hyman's, but if you wanted to look at a couple recipes for week 1 and 3, he's got a couple fantastic salads with chicken on them or salmon on them or whatever maybe, but he's got some great things in there. But if you have any questions on this, again, this sheet now, you all should be linked to this one. And there is a little side bar over here where you can actually add comments. And as you leave it on the line item, see here, I'm just going to add an emoji like, yay, for a smoothie. We can see, or if you have a question, you can put in the question and then I can see who's asking a question, or if you want to tell each other something, you can leave comments on the side. And again, it's per line item, so it's pretty cool. Any questions, any concerns, anybody like super ready to go?
Let's do it.
Woo woo.
Wait,
Yeah.
So
so
what are we doing
so you-
tomorrow? Like, what's the game plan?
Tomorrow you will wake up to my voice again.
Yeah, I love that.
Probably like a wake up, and I'll probably just do a quick little wake up, look outside, like a reminder in the beginning, because a lot of us get up in the morning and we immediately go. So tomorrow morning, if you wake up 7 minutes earlier than normal, take that 7 minutes for you to just stop, look outside. It could be raining, pouring, could be sunny, like whatever it is for you, just look outside first. Or if you're lucky enough to be able to walk outside, just walk outside for a minute. Take those 7 minutes to yourself and just like either take a deep breath, look up in the sky. Because I get up in the dark every morning. So I get to go out and I look, are the stars out there? Are the clouds? Is it raining on me? Like whatever it is, but set yourself to different, like start getting the Earth's circadian rhythm, it will start to set your circadian rhythm. If you start doing it day after day a little bit, it really makes a huge impression on even all the hormones of the body because it starts to set it. So I will set probably a quick little voice recording again in the morning. And then tomorrow we start. So tomorrow you will, whatever you want to do for your breakfast, whether it's starting with something green, or if you want to make that green into a shake, maybe try waiting that extra hour tomorrow from when you would normally eat, unless you have to, I mean, it's obvious if you have to get up or get commuting or get to school or do whatever it is, you have to work around that. So as we get into it, you might think of making something the night before and having it ready for the morning. Because you can even make your shake or make some kind of an overnight chia seed pudding or something that you want to have with a little protein in it, something fast with some berries, nuts on top, something of that nature. Put it in the refrigerator. I don't like it cold, so I just leave mine on the counter. Like it's not going to spoil and kill me. So I do that, whatever, if I'm going to do something that I want to soak overnight, I leave it on the counter so it's room temperature, but I make them the night before. And then my morning is easier because it's all done. So things like that, like set up in the meal plan. There's a sheet in there that has the meal plan that has some ideas. Just write them down in your journal. Like, all right, what do I want to do? If you prepare yourself the night before, take like an extra 15 minutes, 10 minutes before you go to bed, or just a downtime at night, and set up like, all right, what do I need for tomorrow? Or what can I do tonight to make tomorrow easier? Or do I have to stop somewhere and pick something up in the morning so I have it for lunch? Like kind of set a game plan the night before. I highly
you-
recommend doing that.
For this? Do you have to eat breakfast for this? I feel like I haven't
No.
eaten breakfast in like 10 years.
No, not at all. It's probably, especially if your body is used to that, but no, you do not. Just start sipping water in a warm. So when we wake up in the morning, generally speaking, the best thing you can do is drink not quite hot water, but at least this much, like a big portion of room temperature water to very warm water, and really drink the whole thing down. Let the weight actually start your digestive. But I know we were told differently, but if you wake up in Ayurveda, we scrape our tongue, or just check your tongue, because that's the first indication that something's going on in your body. So look at your tongue, and sometimes you can just take it with a tongue scraper or the back of a spoon and just lightly say it's, allergy season, and your tongue is like, has a white or green coating on it. That's your body detoxing, saying all of this stuff is in me and is coming out. So it's an indication from inside telling you. If it's kind of normal, you just do a gentle, and I've gotten probably in the last year or so into the habit of, so all of the enzymes and bacteria in your mouth aid digestion, because digestion starts with the nose and then in the mouth. So if you take I drink it almost hot water, swish it around your mouth, and then actually like that aids digestion. That's the first start of getting that microbiome and that bacteria from your mouth into digestion where they really want it to go. Drink your big thing of water, and then you go brush your teeth. It sounds ass backwards, but it has a purpose in the body. So that's very, very important, is that big old glass of water first thing in the morning. And you'll start to do that now. And then for the rest of your life, you will be drinking one big water at least every single morning before you do anything else. So then you can have your green tea, your black tea, some coffee. If you want to hold off your fast for another hour, don't add anything to your beverage in the morning. Like no creams, not even stevia technically is not breaking your fast, but the chemical message, because it starts in your mouth, is sweet. So it will start digestion. It technically does not, but it technically does. So for the sake of the cleanse, just do the harder things. But again, this is the first week. We're easing into it. We're not going to go game busters tomorrow. Start to make those changes. Start to take out, like if you go to reach for that protein bar tomorrow, that is your go-to lifeline at 11 o'clock in the morning, and you just love it. Read the ingredients first. And you'll be like, shit, forget it. Like skip one. Maybe at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it's this first week, you really need that protein and it's smarter to have it, but you skipped one. So it's those kind of changes we're going to make this week. Maybe you're not going to go for the steak on that night date, in the next couple of days. Maybe you'll have a lean piece of fish. You know what I mean? Like, start to take the heavy things out this week, but don't go cold turkey tomorrow. If you love your coffee in the morning, try 2, 3, 4 days this week where you don't put all the sugar and creamer in and mocha latte, caramel lattes, salted caramel thing, try to make it more simple. Slowly, slowly, slowly. And then next week, that's when we're going to see how everybody feels, see how everybody's week going. So, and I'll check in. I usually do, I'll send a recording or I'll give a quick blip. I'm going to be on at 12, just talking. Anybody who wants to get on the, the live little chat, they can jump on and ask questions, or I'll just send it out. And it's usually some kind of a message. So usually most of the time on Fridays, I'll give one of those before the weekend. Or sometimes I just have these ideas that pop in and it's got to be an afternoon thing and I send it out. So that's what we're going to be doing.
I don't even remember if I told you you're gonna kill me. I'm finishing yet another round of antibiotics right now.
So the cultured foods really, really, really are going to be crucial for you. And Allie, you've been sick. How many antibiotics have they put you on recently?
I'm actually allergic to antibiotics, and
Oh.
the antibiotics that I thought that I wasn't allergic to, I am very allergic to, because when I had my bee sting, they put me on Doxy and my inside of my mouth erupted in blisters like you've never seen before in your entire life. And it was
Oh, you
horrific.
poor thing. Oh,
And I was like, all right, I'm never taking this again. But I haven't taken antibiotics. The last time I took antibiotics was for like a UTI, but it was Mexican antibiotics. They were like, didn't really affect me and they were not super strong. And that was in like 2020.
oh, that's good.
Or a long time ago. So
Okay.
I'm fine in that
I
aspect.
can't believe this is like the 4th round of antibiotics since
I
January.
know. So it's going to be crucial after so this week, even I don't know how close stores and things are to your apartment or whatever.
And I'm coming home in like Friday. So
Oh, okay. So, kefir, kombucha, all the cultured foods, like if you can eat some sauerkraut, kimchi,
Loves
miso,
kombucha.
any of that stuff is going to help anybody. So even like I haven't had antibiotics in forever, but you could have them one time and they eradicate your microbiome for it just kills them. And unless you know to eat certain foods to build that back up again, they're not there. And that's why we're having so many issues as a society. So getting these things back in, and even like through the cleanse, it's amazingly satisfying. Just a cup of miso soup, sipping instead of tea in the afternoon. It tastes amazing and it makes you feel like you just had like soup. And
I love miso soup.
it's
I
so
drink miso
fantastic.
soup like as often as I can. I didn't
Yeah.
know that it was probiotic though.
So probiotic. I
Had
mean,
no
I
idea.
make this glaze for salmon with that and leeks and all this stuff. And it's amazing even to cook it with it like that, like as a paste.
Yeah.
do they make not spicy kimchi?
Actually, you can read it, yes, where it'll have the ones with like the flakes, the pepper flakes. It'll have one without the pepper flakes.
Because I'll die.
You will not like kimchi, Elizabeth. I think
Oh,
you
start
should
with
stick with kefir.
sauerkrauts. Just
It
start
is-
with some sauerkrauts.
You eat sauerkraut? Will you eat that?
It's not my fave, but like I will. My mom's fed it to me before, her and her German self.
She's fed it to you.
The
I mean, like I
but it
don't like
can't be the warm kind on the shelf near all the condiments. It has to be the live culture one that's near the kimchi and the miso and all that. Has to say
Allie, you're
live culture on it.
this
Elizabeth,
weekend.
you're not gonna like it. I think that you should drink
Well,
kombucha.
let's give her the benefit of the doubt and tell her
Okay.
how delicious it is and
I'm
she's
gonna
gonna
feed
love
it to
it.
you like your mom does.
We're going to Whole Foods. You have to bring me and show me where these things are.
When?
I don't know.
I'll be in the
Maybe-
city tomorrow, Elizabeth, if you want to go to Whole Foods in the city.
Maybe actually, I have to go see Maddie in the city tomorrow.
Where?
I don't know, somewhere by like Lincoln Center. So like,
I'll be in Tribeca, I think.
Oh, that's not far from. We might go to Tribeca. I don't know. Cause like she's
Okay.
in,
Love Tribeca.
and I'm up
Yeah,
here. And
text-
we're trying to like meet somewhere in the middle.
Casey, you're invited too if you want to come. Whole
I will
Foods.
be in the city working.
Take a break and go buy kimchi with us.
I got my Wegmans organic. Try Wegmans. There's one down, I forget where there's been a Wegmans in the city, but they have, they had either the vegan or the regular non-vegan one, and I was able to get, but it looks spicy.
Yeah, you could just start with one of the cultured vegetables, which is, any of the cultures are amazing for you.
And Deb, I
Yeah.
wanted to tell you about my dosha. Where'd it go?
Yes, yes, yes.
Are you a pitta?
Of course I'm a pitta, but it actually, this surprised me. Said I have a kapha imbalance more so than a pitta imbalance.
Well, you knew, I mean, that's what you were addressing, the dullness, the heaviness, that's kapha.
Yeah,
The imbalance right now is that which
right now, yeah.
is more kind of highlighted in the winter months anyway, because it is a winter, kapha is winter.
Hmm.
And then as we get into the spring, as you start to feel better and you start to like shed all of that heaviness and all, the imbalance sometimes will balance itself back out again.
This is I'm a
I like
pitta
people to do it
vata.
over and over again because it changes. Maureen,
Yeah,
I mean, the beginning of the call, how hers has changed.
it recommends Stress Ease by Banyan for me.
Yep.
Said I'm a pitta vata type with a
Mhm.
kapha imbalance.
Perfect
What?
sense.
What is this?
Follow
So
your dosha. You have to take the quiz in the group chat.
in the group chat, I sent the Banyan
Okay.
Botanicals, it'll say dosha quiz. And that will tell you like your constitution, like what is more that you're made up within your body and what you were constitutionally born as, your makeup, and then where your imbalances are lying right now. It's a very easy, great little article too. So it explains it and kind of gets you going in the right direction.
What
But
do you think
anyway,
of this?
It says
any questions, ladies?
says I prefer a warmer climate. That is not true.
No.
No. No, but I think I'm good. I'm looking forward to making some changes and seeing how it goes.
Absolutely. And
Good.
I'm so excited for another new round.
Woo woo. All right, girls. Well, thanks, Aunt Deb. I love you.
Thank
Love you, absolutely. And sorry about the recorder. Maureen and I got on and she said, it's not on, right? And I went, no, let's turn it off for right now because we were talking. And of course, then we started talking. But most of it's there.
It's all right. We'll
Important.
remember.
All right. Love you all, ladies.
Love you guys. Bye.
Love
Bye.
you.